Before I went into ranked, I completed the other color tutorials to get a better understanding of what each color was about. It was pretty painless, except for the blue deck that was a bad experience, and I found the black color to be my favorite. I liked the way it felt. The playstyle felt very natural to me, and I liked the different synergies within the deck. I especially liked the murder card. So after the colors were done, I rolled with the black deck right into ranked. Spoiler, it isn't pretty. You may want to avert your eyes towards the end of the video. The first game was against T-Ghouls, and boy, was it a journey. I remembered a line from a video on how to get better at Magic that said, "Can you play with your opening hand? If so, don't mulligan," or words to that effect. I felt that I had a good hand. I had a skeleton that I could keep playing and some helpful spells as well as a few lands. Then after turn 4, I drew land straight for 11 turn pretty much. I was pissed. I played decent though given the circumstances. I blocked everything he had with my skeleton and rat quite well, and I barely took any damage. That is until he finally placed Nightmare, and I thought it was over. But then I drew Murder, and I thought that card could save me. And it did. For one turn. After I cast a spell, and I continued to stall to the best of my abilities, he placed a Demon of Loathing and it was over. I didn't have anything to kill it, so I conceded and went on to the next game. In the following match, I played against Honeybee, and when he played Iron Scale Hydra, I didn't know what to do. The card seemed unstoppable, unless I drew my Murder card. I hoped every turn that card was drawn, as I continued to block his attacks and he blocked mine. But I never drew Murder, so I couldn't kill it and I conceded. I started to realize that not investing any money into the game might be a problem, as I wouldn't have any of the really good cards. But I went on to the next game regardless, and slightly tilted. This next game was against Kellogg32, and it was just a bad game. I was more tilted than I realized at the time, and when he put the enchantment on my vampire, I could feel the tilt and frustration seeping through my veins. Not only because I couldn't play the game, but because my opponent had a lot of cards that I had never seen before. I thought if I drew perfectly for a few turns that I could turn it around, but I was wrong. I tried my best, but unfortunately my best wasn't enough, and I conceded and tried one more time to get a win. I was determined. The final game of the day took me to face Uncle Ubi and his blue deck. I think this was a very good game. I drew pretty well, and I played well as well. I didn't know exactly what the kicker adventure effects did, but I slowly got an understanding of what those effects were as the game went on. I think we both played well overall, blocking and attacking to make sure the cards we needed alive stayed alive, and I think I did a pretty good job of buffing my creatures with their abilities while not handing over board control. Then this turn happened. You may want to avert your eyes now. I was not thinking about the game as a whole, and I had lethal if I casted Unlikely Aid after he decided not to block anything. If I had casted the spell, the game was mine. I misplayed. That was a learning moment for me, and it was probably the most obvious and most frustrating misplay I had made yet. I thought I could recover, and I kind of did, but it would not be enough. That would eventually lead me to losing the game, as he had enough mana to summon Ugin, the Spirit Dragon, and exiled all of my creatures, and then summoned his 6/6, and exiled my last creature. It was over, so I did the gentleman thing and conceded the game. I went 0-4 today. It was painful, and I realized that there are a lot of cards that are really good that I don't have. But what's more impressive to me is that I went toe-to-toe with a guy that had a lot of good cards, and I almost won that game. And that's enough for me. I don't know if I'm going to continue the Magic series like I had originally planned to, because I'm not willing to spend the money to get all the relevant cards. But I know that I can feel satisfied with this performance for now. With that, I'm Venetis, and I hope you make it a good day.